she would just call him her ex-husband, and just how much of a monster he was, to be honest, emotionally abusive and threatening.
The brother-in-law of Spencer and Monique Tepe revealing details about Monique's ex-husband, Dr. Michael McKee, who's now accused of murdering the couple as their children slept. Were you surprised that the arrest was made?
No.
This comes as Columbus police speak for the first time since McKee's arrest, revealing new details about the evidence.
This was a targeted attack. This was a domestic violence related attack.
I'm Angenette Levy, and this is Crime Fix. There's a reason that Morgan & Morgan is America's largest personal injury law firm. That's because the firm fights for its clients and wins a lot in court. The firm has more than 1,000 lawyers that have recovered $25 billion for more than 500,000 clients. In the last few months, a client in Florida got $12 million when the insurance company offered just $350,000. In PA, another client won $26 million. That was 40 times the insurer's offer. Morgan & Morgan makes it really easy to fight for what you deserve. You can even start a claim from your phone. So if you're ever injured, you can start a claim at forthepeople.com/crimefix. Click the link below or scan that QR code that you see right there on your screen. We are learning new details about the horrific murders of Spencer and Monique Tepe in Columbus, Ohio, and the evidence that police say links Monique's ex-husband, Michael McKee, to the murders. When Spencer Tepe and Monique were shot to death in the middle of the night as their young children slept, their family and friends were heartbroken, shocked, and saddened. It happened on December 30th, police say just before 4 a.m. And a member of the Tepe family tells me there was just one person that family and friends suspected of the chilling crime, Dr. Michael McKee, Monique Tepe's ex-husband. Days after the homicides, Columbus police released surveillance video of a shadowy figure walking down the street around the time of the murders, hoping that someone could identify this man. Monique married Michael McKee in the summer of 2015, but records show they separated 7 months later in 2016. But the couple didn't file for divorce until 2017. Records show Monique and Michael McKee had moved to Virginia from Ohio. Michael McKee was completing a residency. He had studied medicine at the Ohio State University. But Monique was not happy in Virginia and returned to Columbus, Ohio, while McKee remained in Virginia. And I can tell you that Michael McKee did not want this divorce, not at all. A spokesperson with the Federal Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms told me that they worked with Illinois State Police and Rockford Police to take McKee into custody on January 10th. That was a Saturday morning. The address where McKee was taken into custody comes back to a Chick-fil-A restaurant near the medical center where McKee worked as a vascular surgeon. Now, days after the arrest, and after McKee appeared in court, Columbus police are releasing new information and details about the investigation and evidence they say ties McKee to the murders.
We believe at this point we have the person responsible for the murders of Monique and Spencer Tepe in custody, and that person is Michael McKee. This is still an active and ongoing investigation. Detectives are still going through evidence, tips, and videos. We can't speak to all the specific details related to this case, so we don't want to jeopardize the ultimate goal of conviction. But what we can say, this was a targeted attack. This was a domestic violence related attack. As we know, McKee is the ex-husband of Monique Tepe. We can say that we have the suspect's vehicle on neighborhood video surveillance arriving just before the murders and leaving shortly after. Detectives were able to link this vehicle to McKee. The vehicle was located in Rockford, Illinois, and evidence was found that showed McKee in possession of the vehicle before and after the homicides. We can also say that multiple weapons were taken from the property of McKee, and there is a preliminary link from our NIBIN to one of the weapons that ties it to the homicides.
Now, this information about a firearm being seized from McKee's home that has been linked, at least preliminarily, to the homicides is a major new development in this rapidly unfolding case. One reporter said at the press conference that neighbors had said they'd seen McKee at the Tepe home in the days before the homicides, but the police chief, she wouldn't confirm that information. And there are other questions surfacing. Did Michael McKee have any other relationships with women after Monique? Did he remarry? That's a really big question right now. And I've learned from sources that Michael McKee spoke to detectives early in the investigation and offered an alibi, but that story crumbled under scrutiny. McKee appeared in court earlier this week in Illinois and waived extradition, meaning he will return to Ohio without a fight to answer to these premeditated murder charges.
Yes, Your Honor.
What's your position at this time?
Yes, at this time, Your Honor, on behalf of Mr. McKee, I will assert his right to counsel. I will assert his right to remain silent. And Mr. McKee believes that the most expeditious manner in which he may defend himself against the charges pending in Ohio and to plead not guilty would be to waive his right to an extradition hearing and to have a governor's warrant and to agree to his immediate transportation to Ohio.
Now, just this past weekend, friends and family gathered to mourn Spencer and Monique Tepe, the dentist and stay-at-home mom, the mother and father to two young children who, thank God, were unharmed in this double homicide. The Tepes were loved by so many. So I want to bring in Rob Misleh. He is the brother-in-law of Spencer and Monique Tepe. Rob, first of all, thanks for joining me. I really appreciate it. How are you and the families doing right now?
I think the past 2 days were bittersweet, but also probably the hardest days that we've experienced, especially Monday with the burial service, just kind of saying the final goodbyes was something that none of us ever imagined we'd experience. So trying to go back to work and live a normal life again is something that's impossible. Number one. Number two, just there's just like a lot of grief takes a long time. So
I know you all just had the funerals for Monique and Spencer. That had to just be so difficult. I mean, you all should just be looking forward to the rest of all of your lives together. And I know I saw on Facebook that you were putting a video together for the service.
yeah, I mean, I was assisting with kind of the photo slideshow. I'm gonna put something else more heartfelt, I guess, together soon, just to honor them. But yeah, I mean, everybody in the family had some role to fill. It was there was maybe, I think there was more than 1,000 people there,
Wow.
which the funeral home said it was the largest they'd ever seen. I think that's just a big testament to who Monique and Spencer were and how impactful they were.
On Saturday, when you guys got the news that they had made the arrest, what were your feelings and the family's feelings?
Um, it obviously doesn't bring them back. It doesn't reverse this entire situation. But to feel just some little bit of relief, it felt like some of the weight was lifted, especially the timing of it going with the funeral the next day. It's step one in the entire process, but at the same time, he's not convicted yet. So we're steadfast in making sure that all of these stones are unturned and that he's he he doesn't walk free again. So
Were you surprised that the arrest was made?
no, I had no idea about the timing or who the investigators had as suspects, but I can just say that very early on, speaking for at least the Tepe side of the family, that we were pretty sure who did this.
And why was the Tepe side of the family so certain that he was the primary suspect, that he was going to be the person that law enforcement arrested and charged.
Um, and again, yeah, I'm just trying to speak for the Tepe side of the family because, Monique's side had obviously a different relationship with her. They've known her since she was born. For us, we met Monique in 2018 when Spencer first introduced her to us. Um, but we were fairly certain because of um, just what Monique had told us stories wise of her. She never called him by name. She would just call him her ex-husband, and just how much of a monster he was, to be honest. Emotionally abusive and threatening. And she did everything she could to extricate herself from that situation. And met Spencer and lived a very happy life. But I can't speak for Monique, but I know that it changed her as a person. And perhaps it was always in the back of her mind. I don't know.
Had she ever spoken to you about it, or Spencer, or did you just hear about a lot of this after the fact?
No, we were aware. Um, she wasn't shy about talking about it, and how it had impacted her kind of mentally just as a person going forward. So we had all heard stories and had talked to her deeply about these situations, but at the same time, we were all thinking this is something in the past. And Monique is clearly happy right now and has a family and is with the person that she loves. So
Mhm.
while we were aware of it, we were also more awestruck by the couple themselves and how much they were in love. So
Did Spencer and Monique ever voice concerns to you, or did Monique voice concerns that she thought this guy just was going to show back up, or that he wasn't letting go of the past?
mm, I would say that she was always worried about him. But at the same time, we never thought that it seemed like a direct threat. Um, and she never mentioned like of recent, at least to me, that that he'd been in contact with her or anything. So um, yeah, that's all I can say, I guess.
Mhm. From the moment that this happened, it sounded like, from what I'm hearing from you, that you all thought immediately that this was Dr. McKee, that this was the guy. Did the family obviously say to law enforcement, to the detectives, that you've got to go talk to this guy?
Yeah, absolutely. And not just the family. I know friends, former coworkers of Monique, um, a lot of people were aware. And she wasn't something that I really loved about Monique is she wasn't shy about talking about these experiences. I think kind of as just maybe a therapy. But yeah, I think I can't imagine how many tips they got that were leading to him.
Wow. You can see in the paperwork, they were married for like 7 months, and then the paperwork's not filed for over, it sounds like, a year. So was this like him just trying to get back with her, or do you know anything about that?
I mean, yeah, that would be my suspicion. For her to, you can see in the court documents, just give up the house and not fight for it. It was very obvious that she had to get away from him,
Mm.
and it seems as though he was not. He didn't believe that. He didn't understand why. I guess I can't. Again, I've never spoken to this person, and I hope I never do speak to him. But I think it just shows a lot that she didn't mind giving up any kind of equity in anything just to be removed from him entirely.
Mhm. We saw your wedding video, and it was of Spencer and Monique, and it was very beautiful, very intimate inside their home. I mean, they looked so happy. and joyful, and everybody was just so happy, and she just radiated joy. That's like the best way I can describe it when I look at her. Obviously, I didn't know her. I want you to tell me about Monique and Spencer. Your feelings about them, your thoughts about them, what you want people to know about them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy that the wedding video can be kind of proof of what their love was like. Um, but they were also way more than that. They were just good people. They were active in the community. Um, they were popular neighbors, like, and the amount of people that I've met through them who have just become my friends, they were really kind of the center of this orbit, the nucleus, I guess, of so many people. And beyond that, they were obviously amazing parents. And you can see both of you can see them in both of their children, good or bad. They both were they were different, but they were also the same. They balanced each other out really well, I think. You know, they were just fun people to be around, and kind of lit up the room whenever they walked in.
Yeah. Spencer, he was a dentist. And I know that Monique was a stay-at-home mom. I'm sure she was just devoted to the children every day. What was Spencer like?
Um, Spencer was equal parts goofball, class clown, um, athletic jock, and just brilliant dork, I guess, for lack of a better term. You really can't pigeonhole him, because he kind of existed outside of the bounds of what, like a stereotype would be, I guess.
Mm.
I mean, he was the life of the party, but also just the one of the most responsible people that I'd ever met. Um, and it just showed, like, the amount of friends that showed up, to mourn his loss was just in, it was incredible, to be honest. And the amount of friends that I have through him, um, I think really speaks to how both of them just created this bond between people. They never compartmentalized friend groups. They just brought people together.
How is the Tepe side of the family doing? I mean, your wife, she was Spencer's sister. I mean, how are they coping right now?
Um, Everyone's been incredibly strong. While the waves of grief kind of come and shift as they do. Um, my wife specifically gave just an incredible speech, at the funeral that had people both in absolute tears of laughter and in tears of sorrow. I think she put it perfectly, just perfectly described who Spencer was, not only as a brother, but as a person.
Robin, the statement that the family put out the other day, it talked about wanting, to see this, full accountability. What does that mean for the family?
Means whatever sentence the judge chooses on all of these counts that he's going to be charged on, because we feel very confident that he is guilty. He is the one that did this, and that justice will prevail. And again, we have so much confidence in not only the Columbus Police Department, but the investigators and all police that were involved.
Rob Misleh told me around the time that detectives believed that Spencer and Monique were murdered, his wife, who is Spencer's sister, she awoke. And he believes that was a sign of sorts that something was wrong.
So the night that this happened, I was up late in our basement, and I was editing a video, and it was around 3:30, 4 a.m., right in that time frame that, investigators had said they think this occurred. And I can hear upstairs my wife, who was dead asleep, kind of get up and shuffle around very quickly. And then I heard her walk over to to where our fridge is and get some water, and then go back to bed, and don't think anything of it. And the next day I asked what was that? She said, I just got this horrible pain in my stomach, like I had to throw up. And she also didn't think anything of it until, she got that same pain when we first got the call. So I truly believe that, between siblings like that, they were that close and they had that sort of connection. And she could physically feel it. So
Oh my gosh. Well, our hearts go out to your entire family, Rob, Misleh. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time and sharing your thoughts and your memories of Monique and Spencer with us. And we'll be following this and keeping you in our prayers.
thank you for having me.
Yeah. Michael McKee remains in the Winnebago County Jail. Columbus police are working with a private company to bring him back to Ohio to face those 2 aggravated murder charges in the deaths of Spencer and Monique Tepe. So stay with Law and Crime for any new details about this case. And that's it for this episode of Crime Fix. I'm Angenette Levy. Thanks so much for being with me. I'll see you back here next time.